Hey guys, it's good to start this attempt to give you a bit of an encouragement and some teaching and some guidance. Hopefully, this will catch you in time for Friday. But I want to deal in the first video here with the story, the narrative. So this applies for Kerry, but all you guys can also watch in. I think one thing I want to say from the beginning, it's for Kerry and Cahill. I need you to notice that at this moment in the narrative, the right name that you need to be using is Abram, not Abraham. Abram. Abram gets changed to Abraham later, and this is something that Cahill will be doing in the teaching. And obviously next time you talk about belief, it is in that context of faith that the name gets changed from Abram to Abraham. So what I would say is be very careful at this moment in time. Tomorrow night you would have to use the name Abram, otherwise you confuse the kids and you lose the impact of the change that occurs when God, because of his faith, changes his name from Abram to Abraham. We can deal with that next time when we talk about belief, which is the next Friday night in terms of the teaching. And so now let me deal with the story. The narrative begins in Genesis chapter 11, but for practical reasons, Genesis 11:27 to the end of chapter 11. But for practical reasons and to give the kids an overview of what's happening, you go to Genesis 12:1 to 9. That's your text. So Kerry, what I want you to do is whenever the kids are sitting down after they have the games and the snacks and all that stuff, sit them down in the circle with the chairs and get them to open their Bibles in Genesis chapter 12. Wait on them. Make sure everybody gets. And make sure that they follow. If they don't follow, just call their attention. You need to make sure they are with you. Keep eye contact with them all the time. Make sure that they're engaging. There's nothing wrong to take a pause and say, hey guys, are you with me? Let's do this together. So read the text, Genesis 12:1 to 9, and then use the presentation that I'm sending to Aaron to go through the pictures and the story. So I would begin to say that Abram and his wife lived in the country of Ur, in the city of Ur. Today is modern Iraq. And God came to Abram and said, leave your father's family, leave everything that you have behind, and travel this long journey to a country that I will show you. Now that's very important because pause in the narrative. This is for you. You don't need to say this to the kids. This is for you. God doesn't tell him to travel to the land of Canaan yet. He simply says in Genesis 12 says, leave your native country, your relatives, and your father's family, and go to the land that I will show you. That is crucial in the narrative. You gotta use these words because otherwise. You lose the aspect of faith. He doesn't know where he's going. He doesn't know the name of the country, and God simply says to him, "Go to a country I will show you." So Abraham needs to learn to rely on instructions, step by step. Good. So that's for you, for you to understand the importance of these words in the narrative. Now back to the narrative. So. Abram and his wife Sarai lived in the city of Ur in the Chaldeans, modern day Iraq, and God tells him to leave everything behind, his father, his mother, and everything, and go to a country that God is going to show him. As they travel, of course, in the narrative you find that immediately. God comes with the blessing. So there are four blessings, four promises that God gives to Abram at this moment in time. And Kerry, you need to mention these four, because this is going to be the foundation of Kahal's teaching later on. So they need to hear them four. So you can make four fingers and you can go, I will make you a great nation. I will make you a great name. I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you, I will curse. All peoples of the earth will be blessed through you. So these are the four promises that God gives to Abram as he travels. Now we find that Abram then leaves his country, leaves his people, and takes his wife Sarah, but also his father Terah and his nephew Lot. Now the narrative, and this is where you have the clip from that shows you the trip from Ur to Haran. This is where they got to Haran. They stopped there to settle. Terah died in Haran. Then Abram, you see how easy it is? Abram is now 75 years old when God tells him to continue his journey to the country where that God promised. And Abram obeys, and they travel to Shechem. And this is a very important part. When they arrive in Canaan, Abram travels as far as Shechem, and they set up camp there. At that time, the land was populated by the Canaanites. And then this is in verse 7, this is crucial. The Lord appears to Abram, and he says to Abram, I will give you this land to your descendants. And as a result of that, Abram builds an altar and dedicates it to the Lord who appeared to him. Then Abram travels south and sets his tents in the country of Bethel. And then again, Abram builds an altar and he worships the Lord. And this is where you stop with your narrative. The last slide is going to be of Abram in front of the altar with fire on it. So you've read the story, you've told the story through the slides, and then now it's time for Kahal to come in and use all that information that was done twice to begin to teach on the narrative that you've just given them. So Carrie, I pray that you will feel encouraged, and you will do a great job for these young people to understand the narrative, the story of Abram. God bless you.